About 3 weeks ago, I asked you about the future scheduling regarding the league's play, and you were pretty adamant that you favored a return to the 18-game schedule. Well, last week the announcement was that it was going to stay 20, and I wondered what your take on that was and whether you think right now it's a mistake.
Well, my response is I have less pull than ESPN, I guess. ESPN makes that decision. TV is what it's all about, and getting ACC games and airing 20 instead of 18 is what they wanted, and I'm sure that's the way it's going to be. Am I frustrated by that? No, you got to deal with whatever the rules are, so we'll play 20. But I do think it does impact your non-conference schedule. And I don't know if people realize how challenging it is to put a non-conference schedule together, that when it comes to the NCAA tournament, the selection committee will evaluate your performance in the non-conference, even more so than what you do in your own league, and give you either credit or criticize you. And what I would like to share with the committee, I'm sure they know, is you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know who's going to be really good. And so you're scheduling these games a year or two in advance, and then all of a sudden that's not a quality opponent. You shouldn't have played them. You got to have more quad one and more quad two games. And I'll use Florida FAU as an example. We scheduled them a couple of years ago, and it was a home and home, and we were playing at their place, and we beat them by 2. And everybody said to me, that's not a quality win. Right? And then, the next year they were Final Four team, and they won 29 straight games or some ridiculous thing like that. So how do you know when you're scheduling your non-conference? But I think you need more flexibility to do what would be necessary, and I thought 18 games would be the ideal number, because we have to play a certain number of guarantee games. You got to have some home games, and that helps prepare you for your league race.
David Teal, go ahead.
Jim, we lost a unique figure in college basketball on Saturday morning, and I know you knew Lefty well. Can you share some thoughts and some stories?
Yeah, Lefty's one of my favorite people all the time. We had a great relationship. Not close, not like Terry Holland and Lefty had, but one time Lefty called me. He was I can't remember where he was coaching at the time, but he said, Jim, it's Lefty. I got a question for you. I said, yeah, what is it? What do you do when someone cuts class? Do you have any penalties or anything you might do? And I said, well, we if they cut a class, we don't let them practice or play. And he said, yeah, I ain't doing that. So, Lefty had a very unique approach. I thought he was a great college coach. And one of the things he got criticized was that he wasn't a really good coach. No, he was a very simple coach. He played man-to-man, never zone, and ran the same offense year after year after year, and they had great success. Maryland's success over the years during his time period at Maryland was fantastic. Then, at James Madison and Georgia State as well, and especially at Davidson. I was a big fan of Davidson when Lefty was there.
You mentioned Davidson. I mean, they had never been to an NCAA tournament before Lefty got there. They ended up being consecutive Elite Eights. They finished in the top 10 4 years. What was your impression then of Lefty?
Well, I was very familiar with Lefty's teams because I ended up coming in right after Lefty left. I graduated from Providence in 71, and Lefty left in 69. And we played in the Charlotte Invitational Tournament when I was a junior. So it was Mike Malloy and Doug Cook and Jerry Kroll and Brian Adrian, who was a high school teammate of mine. They had just a tremendous program. You know, they were winning the Southern Conference every year. And of course, back then, only one team went from each conference. So Lefty had to win not only the regular season, but he had to win the tournament, Southern Conference tournament, to advance to the NCAAs. And those Mike Malloy, Doug Cook, Jerry Kroll teams were terrific and were within a basket or two of beating North Carolina.
Charlie Scott.
Charlie Scott made the shot.
Thanks, Jim.
Go next to Adam Lichtenstein.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
Good.
So obviously you guys are in a bit of a rough stretch right now. Just, coming off 4 straight losses, just what's the team's mindset, the attitude, going into this Duke game on Wednesday? And then also, I'm not sure if you addressed it after the BC game over the weekend, but just what's Nigel Pack's status? I saw in the press release that he's expected back, quote, in the coming weeks. Obviously, there's only so much time left in the regular season, so do you guys expect him back before the postseason?
Well, first of all, the team spirit is good. I mean, the guys are working hard. The problem is it's very hard to practice and play well when you're so short-handed. So I would say this: the guys will be excited about playing on Wednesday, and whoever we have that's healthy is going to play. Nigel's status, while I'm on this conference call, our doctors are going to be on a conference call with Nigel and his parents to really look into the future and see what's best for the young man. He's dealt with these injuries all season long. This is not something that just happened in the last week. I mean, he was dealing with this back in December. He missed a couple of games. Then he came back and played, and now he's, missing a couple of more games. And last week against our home game against Carolina and then our road game against Clemson, Nigel was just not himself. You could, he tried his best. He gave a great effort, but he was in pain. And he's such a great competitor. He wanted to try to help the team as much as he could, but injuries are injuries. You have to deal with them. So we'll find out either today or tomorrow what his status is for the remainder of the season.
Chris Stock, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, with Duke, just what challenges do they present with the team that they have?
I think, what you see in Duke almost year in and year out, they play a young team. They've got a lot of young guys. Jarrett McCain right now is really on a roll. But they've got freshmen and sophomores. So when the season begins, they're not the same team as they are in February and March. And they're a much better team now than what they were just a few weeks ago. I think their defense is very good. I think their offense is at a very high level. And now that McCain's got a lot of experience under his belt, and they're other than Tyrese Proctor, I know he had a concussion, so don't know what his status will be for Wednesday. But when Tyrese Proctor is 100% and their team is 100% healthy, I think they're very, very capable of going on a run and get to the Final Four.
I'll go next to Chris Clark.
Coach, I've been asking everybody here about ACC's returning to D.C., and with your time spent there, right down there, just outside of the Beltway, I wanted to know what it was about those players and what it was about the culture and what it is about those guys that you have come across over the years that might be different or unique about their style of basketball as compared to the rest of the ones you've recruited and coached.
You mean from the DMV?
Definitely from the DMV, PG County specific, if you can, because that's my hometown.
Okay, well, first of all, my philosophy in recruiting, when I got to George Mason in 1997, my coaches and I, we met, and I said, look, our bullseye is going to be the DMV. We're going to get kids from PG County and from the district, from the WCAC, and go up to Baltimore and recruit. But everybody told me I was crazy because we wouldn't get any of the good players. That they all go to Maryland, Georgetown, the ACC, the Big East. The Atlantic 10, they wouldn't go to the CAA. And we just didn't believe them. We devoted all our time to recruiting the kids in the area. And our Final Four team had 8 guys from the DMV, several, of course, from PG County. And when we had to play Connecticut in the Verizon Center, for the winner going to the Final Four, the players from PG County were well represented in that game and led us to Indianapolis in our first Final Four appearance.
Thank you, Coach. I remember it well.
Michelle, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, we've got Hubert Davis up next from North Carolina.